hello. Welcome to Live Out Loud with the Coleman's podcast. I am Sequoia.
I am Alfonso.
And we are the
The Colemans.
Colemans. Thank you for joining us again. What is Live Out Loud with the Coleman's podcast? Well, it's where we talk about all things kingdom. We live out loud with you all. One of the things that we operate from is from a whole kingdom perspective. WHOLE, which is the acronym for us, where it means wealthy finances, healthy love, optimized health, learn mind, and enlightened spirit. We understand that being wealthy has to do with more than just finances.
That's
so we
right.
want to be wealthy in all areas of our life. So here we are with Live Out Loud with the Colemans. Love, you want to go ahead and kick us off?
Yeah, let me get my specs on, my sexy specs on. You know,
Come
when
on,
you get this
sexy
certain
specs.
age, your eyes do something a little different. Oh yeah, there we are. I once was blind, but now I can see.
So wait, what's this you doing?
So what I'm doing now, we actually have a card that we pull out just to actually engage into conversations. And this is like a fun thing my wife and I will do from time to time, just to be able to speak on certain subjects that will actually gender great conversations. It'll cause us to open up to things. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to start this thing off with, okay? So here it is. It says, do you think you care too much about other people's expectations? And what decisions have you made to avoid this, Sequoia?
Ooh.
That's a hot one.
That's a good one. Say it one more time.
Do you think you care too much about other people's expectations? Right. Part two is, what decisions have you made to avoid this? We can get stuck on
I'm
this.
laughing because if you know me personally, y'all probably laughed when I giggled too, because y'all was probably screaming, "No, she doesn't." So
that's about right.
The answer is no, I don't. Not that I don't think about other people's. What did you say? Opinions? Was that the word?
Expectations.
Expectations. Because I do, but that's definitely not my priority in any type of way. What do I do to? What does it say? Keep that.
It actually again says, what decisions have you made to avoid that?
To avoid that.
To avoid this.
So a decision that I have made years ago, which I think is probably just naturally a gift or a part of me, scheduling. Ding dong. I know some of us like to fly by the seat of our pants, right? We don't like to have a schedule for pretty much nothing, okay? Unless we have a job,
the human
we will
experience.
hit an alarm for that. I am, and it's, you know how they say boundaries. So boundaries aren't necessarily for the other people, it's for you. So scheduling, meaning I'm not going to let people take advantage of my time. Like that's a big thing, right? So it doesn't matter who you are. If I know during this hour and this hour, I'm not really talking about XYZ elemental pizza. I don't care if you call me and I answer, I'm not talking about business. So that's one thing that I have done to help with that scheduling and honoring my own time.
And I know you're true to that because you actually was consistent day one and you've shown that. And I'm very grateful. Very grateful.
What about you, love?
Well, to answer that question, I think from a pastoral heart, yeah, I pretty much so was the type of person that really cared about other folks' expectations. Being that way, you always wanted to make sure that person felt like their needs were being met. However, answer that first question. However, I found out there are some points inside of it. It can be a little bit manipulative and controlling.
Yeah.
And I had to learn that and begin to balance things out. So I guess the second part of that question was, what decisions have I made to avoid it? To avoid this, one, I had to really separate the two. And what I mean by that, the human experience and the heavenly experience, not to sound so heavy with it, but at the end of the day, humans going to be what humans are. But from a heaven perspective is this, what is God expecting me to do?
Right.
And sometimes people have this way, no matter what and how they're related to you, can pull you away from the expectations of our Creator. So I have to think in those terms, and it balanced. It brought balance to me. So yeah,
Yeah.
good
And
question.
there's a time, I think, to consider expectations, especially when it's one. If you expect something from us based on what we said we were going to deliver,
Quite, yeah, yeah.
then yes. So it's you have to know when to put it in its proper place. So one thing, this is, y'all know we do this every week to start it off because we know that sometimes we're getting into heavy topics that are going to push you and make you uncomfortable, and we're okay with that. So we want to start on a light note. However, a few weeks ago, one of our supporters, we told y'all we want this to be a conversation, and she went on one of our platforms and she tagged her husband and said, "Hey, let's do these questions with them." And I said, that is so smart. So we invite y'all literally in the comments. This is another conversation piece. Like, get your partner and y'all do these questions with us, and like let y'all see our answers in real time. Yeah. Let us know y'all answers and what y'all
love to hear from you. We'd love to know what your response. We want to see if you really people pleaser when it comes to that. Or you actually really pleasing your purpose. We'll find out.
Y'all see how he did that? Okay, so we're gonna move into the topic for today. Y'all ready? So it's a question, and we gonna dig into this thing. It's why, okay? Why are you grinding and hustling?
Yeah.
Why are you grinding and
why
hustling?
are you doing it? And if I can just go ahead and give a quick definition,
run.
Real quick with hustle. Some of you may be familiar with it, so we're not trying to play down your knowledge, but just in contents of what we're trying to share with you. Hustle, it means this force to move unceremonially in a specific direction. That's hustle, okay? Let me run to grind real quick. Grind, reduced to small particles or powder by crushing it. Now, I know both of those don't really sound like something that is very much so a pleasant experience, although we have built a culture.
Yes.
And there's several other definitions that comes along with it. But there's a culture that is built, and there's a reason why people that are absolutely into trying to control folks' way of thinking, they're very good at using these particular words, hustle and grind. And sometimes we're not always privy or see the obvious.
Yeah. We praise it. So in the culture, we know we call it the hustle culture or the grind culture. It has become something that we praise and we uphold as if this is something that we should be doing, right? And we celebrate it.
We do a
great job. That's what we do. We celebrate.
And if you ain't hustling, if you're not grinding, then guess what? You ain't doing nothing.
Yes. And there are many people, and don't get me wrong, you can mean well in what you're saying, but we just breaking it down in this context. And y'all know we've given a kingdom perspective of it, right? We will go as far as to some of us put people down if they aren't grinding or hustling, or they're not committed to the grind, they're not committed to the hustle, and all those other terms that go along with it.
This is true.
And that's whether, even when it started, we have to give a basis of hustle, which is traditionally we're talking about in a workplace, right?
Absolutely.
That means your leadership is putting demands on you where literally it's a hustle culture. I gotta go. So whether you working instead of 8 hours a day, 12 or 14 or 16 hours, that's what that looks like. Grind is typically if you are trying to be an entrepreneur or you're doing a side hustle.
That's right.
We gotta grind. I gotta go after no sleep. We even say crazy stuff like I sleep when I'm dead.
I sleep when I'm dead.
But do you want to die early?
Absolutely. Ooh, that part. Before you go real hard and you're going hard soon.
No,
I want to just say this too. In all fairness, we do understand that people have to do certain things to be able to provide for their family. And in doing it, sometimes you can work with a mental knowledge and thinking that it's the right way to go about it.
Yeah.
So we don't want to take away from you if you're absolutely doing all you know to do to take care of your family.
Yeah.
Because that's a very important aspect of life on both sides if you're trying to raise and rear a household. However, how you work for your family sometimes can actually be a strain in other areas. And we just want to make sure we are clear, by all means, there's a way to do something. There's a way also that seemeth right. All right. But the end thereof is death. You're going back to what she just said.
Wow.
All right. Go ahead.
Wow.
Go ahead. It seems like
It seems like that, and that's what we want to. Like I say, we're establishing a basis, so we all on the same page for this
this
conversation.
lady hot today. Go ahead and say.
No, I didn't think I was, but okay. But so we're all on the same basis of this conversation. Like I said, we're not coming to get somebody who's working, trying to take care of their family. But again, the culture, if we can say that, of hustling and grinding and us praising and celebrating it is not healthy. It's not something that we should be doing because it's causing more harm than it is benefit in most situations.
Absolutely. I also agree to that as well. One of the things that most of us don't realize, and hopefully we can in this short time of talking, is that there are places in which we want to be employed. And while being employed, we let the employer take advantage of us.
Mhm.
And what he does is he'll give you more money
Yeah.
for your time being traded for. So you're there actually hustling on that clock, and he'll turn around and they started demanding overtime, and then some of you asking for overtime. That's the hustling experience, the grinding, because here it is, you got all of the other obligations, and I get it. But he'll take advantage of all of that. And what you discover at the end of the day, you've given most of your life, most of your time to some place you really didn't want to work. And then the people in which you say you love and you really care about, they really don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
Because of the little time and effort. So what I want you all to understand about this hustle and grind thing, it takes away time while some of you still trying to get money. But on the other side, look at what you're losing. So I want to suggest in this moment too, is that let's just flip that. How about instead of you being employed, why don't you employ your money so you can get your time back? Because the hustle
wait.
It's a culture.
Hold on, you're not just gonna speed past that like you didn't say what you just said.
And then yeah.
Instead of being employed, employ your money.
That's right.
Bars.
That's right. Employ your money, because in doing so, you'll find out your money is the one that needs to grind anyway, not you.
Your money should be grinding for you.
So the culture, the mentality, the education of what they've been trying to push out there, it's an agenda.
Yeah.
And it's causing you to believe something at the same time losing a lot because you got the wrong mentality concerning that.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. That it's an agenda that's being pushed.
It is.
Right? Because to us, a lot of us, it sounds good. I got to hustle and grind. I got to hustle. That's our response. Like, what you been up to? Nothing, man, hustling, grinding, or whatever. But it's like, what is the agenda behind it? Absolutely. Because and we'll get into that a little later, but that's a good piece. Yeah. Because if the agenda truly is, I need y'all to think that you need to hustle and grind and think that you're doing it from a good place, but really the agenda is to pull you from other things. Absolutely. And before we get into the disadvantages of that, I do want to say this, because you said sometimes your employer can ask you to work overtime or to we'll give you more money. So they'll put an incentive. They call it incentivizing. Right. It, right? They'll put that, on that to get you to hustle harder. But when you look at that, if I'm hustling for you, and let's say this is a place of employment, right? And this is not my purpose, because if I don't own it, it's probably not my purpose. That's somebody else's purpose that I'm pushing. It's pulling me further away from doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Absolutely.
But I think
absolutely
the point to, I'm gonna ask you a question, right?
Okay.
So you're saying, and y'all know Hubs here, we talking to pastor. Okay.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
I'm
saying you were a pastor for many years.
Yes.
Of the
14 years to be exact.
Okay.
In the church world over
your whole life.
That long.
But I'm saying it so y'all understand why I'm asking him this in the perspective that he's responding from. And when we say pastors, you can be pastor in many different ways. I'm talking to him as pastor of, like you said, 14 years of a actual brick and mortar church of hundreds of people, correct? Okay. All right. So we have that established. So we know in a workplace, it can be a hustle culture. Do you think it can be a hustle culture in church world?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, sometimes it's almost like under the umbrella of spirituality, under the umbrella of serving God, there's ways that hustle has come inside of the church world in the grind. For an example, you can have all of these ministries, and you can have one person that is absolutely in all of them. And that same person who is married, who has a
Ooh.
family, who also have outside other endeavors and things she is obligated to.
Y'all see how you said she, but we
Yeah,
ain't gonna.
because in many cases it is usually the woman when it comes to the hustle and grind get hustled the most
Ooh.
inside of the church world and the grind. And it'd be the husbands that come to me talking about my wife in the church all day long with this committee, that committee. I didn't get a chance to get to know my wife and can't go out on a date and blah, 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 blah. Causing all of these problems.
Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast, ain't it, right?
Causing
I
all
didn't
these
expect him to
problems.
go there.
Yeah. So yeah, to answer your question, yes. And they have found a way because they're trying to build their brand, trying to build their ministry. And their people and even children sometimes have to be with mom sometimes, and they absolutely hate church because of the hustle and the grind of mom or even dad being there all the time. Start
Wow.
Sunday morning service. Here it is, a Sunday school for some people. It starts at what, 10 o'clock. And then you don't leave and get home because you got 18 services to go through and to go to. And you're back at home at 12 midnight. I might have went too heavy in it, but at the end of it, to answer your question, yes, love. It definitely
Exists
inside of the church.
So it doesn't make it any better whether you're being hustled at your 9 to 5 or you're being hustled at your place of worship, because the results is still the same.
Still the same.
So we got to think about that, because sometimes when we discuss things, we take it only from one avenue and we get that right, and then we wonder why. Well, I stopped letting my job do that, and we're wondering why things haven't still turned around or haven't changed, or I still don't have time. It's because we're still in this same thing, but in a different place, which can sometimes be even in your place of work.
And to be quite honest, sometimes people don't even know that they're actually a part of that culture. They're just actually doing what other folks have done and what they're being taught, and not necessarily understanding you're part of the hustle.
Yeah.
For an example, you have folks that just join into church ministry, soon we on that, and they go in and just want to do everything to please God. Mm-hmm. And sometimes people can take that and manipulate the mind of the person. You're not pleasing God unless you're in the house of God in the times in which we require for you to be in the house of God.
Wow.
And you put it all over other things. And sometimes that means that you will miss out on your purpose, and you miss out on your love life. You would miss out on the raising and the rearing and the relationship with your own children.
Oh, your children even start to despise
and the list goes on and on. You're absolutely right. Children would even despise you, as I mentioned earlier. It's in the Bible. I believe it's in Luke, the 10th chapter. It talks about where Mary and Martha, Jesus come to visit in the village, and here it is, Mary's having a conversation with Jesus, and Martha's trying to tell Mary, you need to be over here making all this preparation and all the things. So Martha came out to pretty much be one that could be looked at in the church world. She just wanted always talking to something, got to do something, put something. Don't you notice that even in that moment, all your hustling and your grinding, Jesus is here?
Wow.
So sometimes people that hustle and grind sometimes overlook the important person or the important thing that just showed up in their life. Absolutely. I'm gonna leave that alone.
That's good.
I'm gonna leave it alone.
That's good.
I felt the preach coming. I ain't did that in years.
Release it. But no, that's good. So another part that I think about when I think of hustling, grinding, when I was even thinking about this, like, why are you hustling? Why are you grinding? It's literally that question. Why? That's right. Okay. We got to deal with the why. One thing that I kept coming, that I keep coming. Why do we do that? Why? And what I come back to is that hustling and grinding, I'm big on the root, getting to the root of stuff. Y'all know he called me, She's a digger. I'm Queen Digger, okay? Not gold.
She's not a gold digger, but she's a digger.
I am a digger, Okay, I want to get to the root of things so we can like totally uproot it and eradicate it, right?
Likewise.
And plant the right seed.
That's right.
So hustling and grinding is rooted in fear.
Ooh.
Right?
You gotta hit a nerve. Good.
Hustling and grinding is rooted in fear. Fear of lack, fear of scarcity, fear of not having enough, fear.
And some more fear.
And some more fear.
And the word, if I can actually insert this, the word talks about our Creator never given us fear, y'all.
Exactly.
Fear of, if I don't do this, I'm not going to make it to the top.
Mm-hmm.
Fear, if I don't do this, I'm not going to be able to obtain my goal. And at the expense of breaking down your body. For an example, if I can just insert this as well. For an example, I know so many people, and hey, no offense, if you can find employment in these days and times, you find employment, but you still got to use your mind.
Absolutely.
There are people that work in industries where they utilize their bodies in certain places so much. There are people that use their hands and they have gotten, what is it called? Carpal tunnel, because of the fact they overwork certain parts of their bodies because of this whole grinding and hustling culture. And sometimes even in hustling and grinding, and when it happens, you may not always want to be a part of it because of fear. You're there because of fear. You're breaking up and tearing up and destroying some things, and God had made you fearful and wonderful.
Yeah.
You were fearfully and wonderful made. Notice that fearful, that means again, He didn't give you the spirit of fear. So yes, one of the reasons why people hustle and grind out of fear. And look what fear absolutely renders you.
Yeah, and it comes against everything that we are. But we're gonna pause right there. We gotta pay some bills, as they say in podcast land, and do a quick little commercial break. So if you are looking to have a business, right? I say business and not hobby. And you want this to be set up correctly. You want to make sure all your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted in the correct way, because you know that you have something to push out into this world. And you also understand that having that done properly means getting proper funding, right? It means getting the most that you and your business deserve. So if you need help setting that up, whether that's setting up your website, your LLC, your EIN, your professional address, phone number, email address, all those good things, making sure you are listed properly, you can contact the Whole Center at www.thewholecenter.co. www.thewholecenter.co. That's .co, not .com.
Very good.
All right, so let's get back into it. So this fear thing, what stands out to me is that it's sad, because that's where we start grinding and hustling. It's out of fear, it's out of scarcity, it's out of lack. And when I look at fear, of course, one scripture, I think you touched on it, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind, right? So, but you got to look at what grinding and hustling affects. It says He didn't give us fear, but He gave us power, love, and a sound mind. Power is also mentioned in Deuteronomy chapter 8, because it said He gave us the power to obtain wealth. So that doesn't sound like I'm having to grind and hustle because of a place of fear, right? Because that's where it's from. Love. Well, a lot of times if I'm grinding and hustling, baby, my love life is a little jacked up. It may be in the toilet.
Because you have a love for money.
Oh.
And not necessarily a love for what God had told you money's supposed to do. You love money. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm liking this.
Love, I'm sorry.
Love. So that's jacked up, because you don't even have time for that.
And of course.
And then a sound mind. Well, guess what? You got all the mental fog in the world. You don't understand why you can't think of things clearly. You're tired. You feeling like, oh my God, I think I'm losing my mind, all this other stuff, because of the grind and the hustle. So now your mental health is off.
That is so give me some. That was really good. As I gave a definition earlier about hustle in relationship to what Sequoia just said, my wife has said, watch again, hustle, force to move, And so when you start talking about a sound mind, if you're hustling, you can't even take time to make sound decisions
No.
because you are forced to move
I gotta go.
considering the cost.
That's good.
So with the whole hustle aspect and also grind, as we said in the earlier definition, it talks about reduce. Let's just stop there to small particles and powder, crushing. It's bringing you into a place of reduction.
Yeah.
Now, I noticed how they said that you get people in front of your face and they get you pumped up and get you going. You got to hustle and you got to grind and you're going to be this in life. You got to be that. And you bought into all of that type of stuff. But then Jesus said it like this. If y'all actually subscribe to it, he said, my yoke is easy. That don't sound like grind to me. That don't sound like hustle to me. And he said, my burden is light.
Yeah.
So these are the things that should open you up when you start asking the question to yourself, why am I hustling and grinding when he also talk about that we're supposed to have this life?
Yeah.
And we're going to always come back to this and to have it in such an abundant way. It does not sound like hustle and grind. See, when you talk about a life full of hustle and grinding, to me, what that sounds like, I don't know nobody. I don't know where I'm coming or am I going. I'm wore out. I'm always drained. I can't enjoy moments.
Yeah.
I may have all of the money, but yet and still the money still does not remove the misery because I don't have the company. I don't even know myself. And even if they give you a lot of money in this whole culture, what does it profit you? Going back to sound mind, to lose your soul in the process of gaining this. There's no soundness to the mind.
It's not. And the other thing is when we think about scriptures, especially us who come from church world, we say things all the time like the blessings of the Lord, they make it rich and add no sorrow. But me being tired and wore out, that seems sorrowful to me. I'm not about that life. And then there are different scriptures that speak to the blessings of the Lord overtaking you.
That's right.
But then along with grinding and hustling, some have took on the term they chasing the bag. Okay, so here's my thing. I'm very, I get pictures in my mind. So I think if I'm chasing the bag, right, I'm running forward, and this bag is up there somewhere in my view, maybe I don't even see it. But I'm chasing it, so I'm running this way. But if something is overtaking me, then I'm running from what he already said I got that's supposed to overtake me. So I'm chasing the bag.
That's good.
And I'm steady running away from what's supposed to be overtaking me.
That's good. So the blessing is supposed to overtake you running from the blessing.
Because I'm
trying to go get the blessing. But the blessing is not the thing in front of you. It should be running towards your purpose.
Exactly.
While blessing is trying to catch up with you. All right. The other thing of it too, if you turn it around, because of the culture again, they have their language.
Absolutely.
They have their way of saying it. It makes it sound good. I'm about my bag today. I'm getting that bag. And it's just reversing a lot of things what our Creator had put in place for us to never even have the mentality, because he knew on the other side of the hustle, all of the pain, all of the loneliness, all of the disappointment that comes along. So he already put in place how we're supposed to live here.
Yeah.
So why are you hustling? Now, I will say this. I've been there. I felt like that. I had the same type of mentality because it was taught to me. And I thought it was the best thing that a person could possibly do as the way it was taught in the culture. But when I became a man, that means that my mindset had matured in such a way in the space that I was able to open and see this thing for what it is. And I had to put away childish things.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying again, not calling nobody a child. What I'm saying is this: what happens when you begin to grow in grace and you grow in knowledge, that means that you started doing things from a different perspective.
Absolutely.
Because of what you absolutely have learned. You've been enlightened. So I believe during this time, Sequoia and I had a moment and we were sharing it with you all. Live out loud with us. Make the shift, make the change.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a greater benefit for you so you can finally get into that place, not being exhausted, I mean, I need to be here for all of this.
Yes, you do.
But if I'm out in the street always,
that ain't gonna work.
You understand what I'm saying? And come back and this is sleep. And then I come in and hear this, you may be up and I may be sleepy and tired, whichever one.
Right.
Then it's gonna cause some problems.
It's
some problems. That's just one. No peace.
I knew you was gonna go there. I was gonna say your favorite.
Hey, I feel it.
No peace.
No peace.
Y'all know what he mean.
Anyway.
Come on back. Bring it in.
So yeah. We just want to be able to enlighten you guys, and I think anything else that you want to share?
No, it's just we just have to examine it. You know what I'm saying? And we understand what some people mean when they say it, but let's just dig deeper and really examine it and see if there's any way in our lives that we've got it a little misconstrued or a little off, and it is negatively affecting our lives as it relates to. We talked about the things that it messes with your relationships, your health, your mental health, all those things. And if so, then we need to recalibrate and restructure. A lot of times it's just, I was talking to one of our brothers recently, and we were saying some people, it's not that they're lazy, they don't know. You just need to employ somebody else in your life and staff your life properly. So you know how to get the strategic plan that you need for your life, because sometimes we don't know how to make a schedule.
Absolutely.
And it's nothing wrong with that. Don't feel bad if you don't know how to do that. No, it's people out here. We do it for people where you just need a strategy. Okay, so then you can run and you can execute it. It's like, man, that was just my one bump, my one hurdle that I needed to get over. I needed to know, how do I time all of this? Okay, I got a man, or I got a woman, I got kids, I got a business, I got this, I'm in this organization. You can do all those things, but you just have to properly structure it.
Absolutely. And I'll leave you with this. Even after all of what we shared, information, you probably asked, how does a Coleman get to this type of mindset? For one, as was already mentioned by my wife, I had to find a group of people who knew how to live that life.
Yeah.
And ask for permission for me to sit up under their tutelage and that teaching. And they began to have me to see things that I may not have saw or noticed before, but I had to find another circle. So we're saying, in your process of being illuminated, find another circle. The other thing is this: you guys got to be very mindful of what it is that you put yourself in front of. What are you reading and what are you looking at? Because the media have showed us and given us this information so much, it has gotten into the fabric of your own soul.
Yes.
And you're thinking that this is the life because you're looking at it. Again, broad is the way. A lot of stuff is out there, but narrow is a place where it will bring you to a place that's very precise, very direct, and very guided. And that's what you have to do. So you'll find yourself in being in places and postures like my wife and I are now. We're not out here hustling.
No.
But we're finding ways not to be employed as some of you may know it, but finding ways to employ our money.
Absolutely.
That's going to help.
Y'all know how I said your money should be making babies.
That's right.
Being fruitful and multiplying just ain't about popping out after babies. My money got to make me babies.
Good stuff.
So good stuff. We hope y'all enjoyed today. We hope you got something from today. And most of all, we hope we challenged you today, that we came and we were disruptive to your current way of thinking. So we asked you to please like, share, subscribe, follow, turn on your post notifications so you know when we are putting something out. And then comment.
Please share.
We want this to be interactive. So please comment. Let us know what you think. Let us know your thoughts. If you had an aha moment, if you had a moment that you still kind of wondering about, but you put a pin in it.
That's right.
Let us know.
And I really encourage you again, comment, because that helps us to understand what type of content that we need to actually go back and get to bring to you, to be able to help you as you live this abundant life. Okay, so make sure you share, talk to your family, your friends, and let them know it's more of this to come. All right. Yes,
and that was a good one. Thank you for saying that, love, because we do need that feedback. If it's something that you have a question on, let us know, because who knows, that may be our next podcast. It's somewhere down the line. So let us know that. As always, we thank you for trusting us enough to tune in and to watch us as we, of course, you live out loud with you. But of course, our mantra as we literally just live life on purpose, as we chase truth, as we push purpose, as we speak kingdom, and as we live whole. We thank you and we
All
love
that.
y'all, and we will see y'all next week.
All right, you all enjoy the rest of your life. See you again.